the universal way to communicate with one another. But have you ever stopped and paid attention to the language we have agreed on? We have seemingly accepted certain words and phrases that go with each other, but upon further inspection, make no sense whatsoever. Doctors, for instance, like to call what they do practice. These people are professionals, not amateurs, therefore they don't need practice. I don't know about you, but I would personally get scared if my heart surgeon wanted to practice on me. Last time I checked, that was not an operation game, and I do not need a rookie performing medical experiments on me. When someone refers to a firefighter, you know exactly what they do. Fight fires. When someone refers to a crime fighter, you know they fight crime. But then what exactly does a freedom fighter fight? They never mention that part to us, and nobody seems to question it. Okay. Companies occasionally like to smooch over customers by giving away free gifts. All gifts are free. That's why we like them so much, and Santa Claus still has a job. Self-help is another good example of If a certain person wants self-help, why would they go and buy a book written by someone else? That's not self-help, that's help. There's no such thing as self-help. If you did it yourself, you didn't need help. Certain phrases can also show the misuse of language. When someone has a good night's sleep, they occasionally like to say they slept like a baby. When matter of fact, babies wake up like every 2 hours crying and screaming. Doesn't sound very relaxing at all. Okay. Advertisers occasionally like to introduce new products as new and improved. Or if it's, I totally forgot that. Oh, okay. Well, if it's new, it never even existed, so how can it be an improvement? A personal favorite of many people is the best thing since sliced bread. So this is it, huh? A couple 100,000 years and this is the best we can come up with? The pyramids, the Panama Canal, the Great Wall of China, to me, are all greater than sliced bread. Language has, of course, evolved over time, but not exactly for the better. People are sometimes afraid to face reality, so they invented this sort of soft language to hide the truth and conceal the truth and to hide the truth and protect themselves from it. For instance, toilet paper became bathroom tissue, and false teeth became dental appliances. And partly cloudy became partly sunny. The CIA doesn't kill people anymore. They The CIA doesn't kill anymore. They neutralize people, or they depopulate the area. The government doesn't lie. It engages in disinformation. The Pentagon actually measures nuclear radiation in something they call sunshine units. This idea of changing language around to make it less threatening only gets worse each and every generation. For example, there's a condition in combat where a fighting person's nervous system has been so stressed to its absolute peak that it snaps or is about to snap. In the First World War, this condition was called shell shock. Simple, honest, direct. That was 80 years ago. Then a whole generation went by and a Second World War came along, and that same exact condition was now called battle fatigue. Doesn't seem to hurt as much. Fatigue is a nicer word than shock. Then came the war in Korea, and the same exact ailment was now referred to as operational exhaustion. Sounds like something that might happen to your car. Then finally came the war in Vietnam, and the same exact illness was now called post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, 35 years later, it has officially evolved to PTSD, and the pain behind the original word shell shock has now been completely stripped and buried under jargon. It's this way of thinking that represents the idea that if you change the name of the condition, then you somehow change the condition. But the problem is it doesn't work that way, and it just ends up making for a very weak and soft language.